We are live. Hopefully everybody can hear us. It is Thursday. It is Horror House time, and we're live in the Horror House. Who is that fella? We got a new person. We got a guest. Longtime listeners, first-time callers will know Tim
Where are you over there?
been with us several times. Hello, Tim.
Hey guys, what's going on?
And we are
Tim is
discussing...
broadcasting tonight from his QAnon headquarters.
Full disclosure, not a Q guy. Don't like Q guys. don't like that. Don't like that one bit.
Well, that makes it weird for us because that's actually what we're here to talk about tonight. No, we're not. We're here to talk about Castlevania, the first season of Castlevania.
In fairness, most of the Q guys can't read the alphabet up to Q.
Fair. But before we get into Castlevania, the whole first season, all of the episodes,
Every episode.
all of them, for the whole first season. We've never done this before. Put your hand down. Put your hand down. All the whole season, the whole entire first season of Castlevania we watched just for you guys.
Marathon. Over the last 6 months, we've been toiling over this episode, this season to get through it.
I'm tired.
I like to think it was just for me. I mean, that's what I like to think anyway.
Tim has been trying to get me to watch Castlevania for 4 years at least.
That's probably very accurate. Yeah, it's phenomenal. So yes.
But we will get more into that. But first, as always, Tim, I don't know if you know this, but people come here to the Horror House for horror movie news. Several people, all kinds of people, really.
Actually, I have some news that I'd like to bring up. So I went on the slashers, I went on the Twitters, and I was just trying to get a feel for your subsect of the community, as it were, on social media.
We call ourselves the horror fam.
The horror fam, gotcha. Okay, so I saw literally dozens, if not tens of dozens of articles saying Tim Happens, new Nepo baby of the Horror House podcast scene. Yeah, no, okay. So I just want to talk about this for a minute. Yes, Dave is my stepdad. Yes, Chris is my uncle. Yes, I gave Jeff a reach around one time. Not a Nepo baby. Not a Nepo baby. It may seem that way. Not a Nepo baby. Okay.
Not
okay?
one.
Not. I'm here because of my accoutrement, and that's it.
And
not a Nepo baby.
Ballistics expertise.
I wish you were, because you can't be a Nepo baby if we're not successful. So, like, if you were a Nepo baby, that means, like, we're here instead we're, like...
Right. I mean, all the articles. Every of the articles was, like, new up-and-coming Horror House podcast. Nepo baby? And that hit me wrong.
I have some news. I'm sorry to announce that I wrote most of those articles, Tim.
And bought Google ad rates just to get them.
He won't buy them for us. For 10 years in the Horror House, I'm like, Dave, give us some Google money. And he's like,
no, I was saving it for this. Sorry.
I didn't know. It kind of makes sense now. I understand.
The time that Tim would be on the podcast.
Jeff, were you involved in this ad business against me and Tim in different ways?
Probably not. I don't believe in ads.
Okay.
So, I've got $25 more of ad money saved back for when we do The Conjuring with Jen.
No, Insidious. Insidious is removed.
Insidious.
Was that it?
Darth
or
Maul.
are we going to have Jen on when they do the Babadook TV series?
Oh, okay. Hold on. Do you want to hear a live reaction? Do you want to hear a live reaction? Hey, honey, real quick. Babadook TV series.
I agree. I completely agree. But I don't think we have Babadook TV show news today, unfortunately. But we got other news. One of them is about a TV show. Friday the 13th, the TV show. Not that one from the 80s that was kind of cool and had nothing to do with Jason, but a new one.
Kinda cool. It was totally radical.
Okay. I was like, we've both bought it within the last 5 years.
Yeah, no, it is spent way too much money for the as poor quality as those DVDs are.
God damn, they didn't upscale those at all. But they're trying to do Friday the 13th, a series. And
by A24.
By A24, which is weird. I guess it's going to be about Jason's mom, but either way, it's in turmoil now. And I think they're switching gears. At first, people were saying it's canceled, and then people were saying, no, it's not canceled. They're just changing things. So
what was the premise supposed to be? I know, again, I'm not a huge horror guy like you guys, but I know that, the first...
That's how you got on here. Okay.
The first Jason film, it's the mom.
Yeah.
So, like, is it like, was it supposed to cover her, like, descent into madness over the death of her son?
That's what I assume. I don't think anybody really knows. But that was one of the...
Yeah, I don't think anything ever came out, but...
I think that was one of the concepts.
That'd be a really cool premise, though, for a show. So,
hey guys, we're pulling out of it.
I don't think they're pulling out. I think it said they're just kind of starting over with it. I don't.
Writer is gone. So Brian Fuller was attached as the writer. Which I mean, he wrote some Star Trek stuff, a Carrie TV movie from 2002. Machine Daisies, which was kind of a quirky thing, but he wrote 39 episodes for the Hannibal TV series, which is an amazing fucking series. 26 episodes of American Gods, which was really cool series about the gods were alive, like all of the gods, like Jesus and all of them are around. Mm-hmm. Sometimes multiple copies of them, but they're powered by belief and they're always jockeying for position. So it was kind of cool thing. Weird.
So Clever was the best one.
So he is out now, is what my understanding is.
Yeah.
And I don't sound like it was his choice.
Carry on from that. Dave, what's one of your news things? What you got?
Eli Roth is working on a TV series. We're on the TV series tonight, apparently.
Yeah.
Eli Roth is working on a Hostel TV series, and you'll never guess the A-list actor attached to the series. I'm going to tell you, you don't have to guess. It's Paul Giamatti.
I love Paul Giamatti.
Right.
I love Paul G. Yeah.
Is he going to be like the rich guy over the whole thing?
I would guess. But that's all I know is like that little blurb that maybe possibly this is in the works and this is who is attached to it. So,
I mean,
I'm kind of. Yeah.
If it comes out, I'll have one of you guys convince me to watch it in like the next 10 years if it's okay. So we got that to look forward to.
We'll start on that now.
Ty West says there's going to be a 4th X movie. I don't know which one he's on now. Maxine, is that the next one?
Maxine is getting ready to come out.
But he's apparently got another one even beyond that. And they're Dave's favorite movies. He said that to me. They're his favorites.
I have a quick question. Going back to Paul Giamatti. If Paul Giamatti and Steve Buscemi had a child, would they just be born with their eyes outside of their skull?
Oh, it's like that lady. Remember the lady that could bulge her eyes out?
Yeah.
Back in the 90s?
It just popped into my head. I was like, Paul Giamatti's got those big bug eyes like Steve Buscemi. What if they had a kid?
I'm not going to name names, but we may have worked with somebody with buggy eyes, including Chris may have worked with her.
Oh.
Their baby would have been Marty Feldman, but that would be a whole goes to the past.
Kind of Skarsgård in a way. Have you ever seen the picture of Steve Buscemi, a young Steve Buscemi, and Bill Skarsgård next to each other?
It's uncanny.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
How old is
pretty
Bill
pretty close.
Skarsgård? He was hanging out with a young Steve Buscemi. That's wild.
He's timeless, ageless. Dave? How do you feel about another Ty West movie in the Maxine world?
I'm in. I like what he does. Oh, Baskin guy and I were talking about Ty West today, actually, and we were talking about something he did. One of his earlier things he did, maybe right after House of the Devil, called The Innkeepers, but I had not watched it yet, so I'm going to put that on my list. Baskin guy, he knows you're listening, Chris. Be afraid.
I literally have been part of the Baskin joke for like two episodes now, and it's still like the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard.
If I'm afraid to go to your work, Dave. We used to meet up and we would go to Tappers. No, I'm afraid. You're gonna have to meet me like a block away. Like a hot drop. Then when they skyhooked Batman in The Dark Knight, do that to me.
We just drive by and hook you up into the car.
I'll get a skateboard and then you skyhook me.
That sounds
if Baskin
legit.
guy's there.
That's a secret, Chris. He's always there.
I don't care for this.
Wherever there
I don't
is.
like this show. Speaking of something else that I didn't like when I was a kid, The Exorcist. And when we first started live streaming, we had every week we talked about The Exorcist Believer. Well, guess what? They fucked it up real good because it's such trash, and now Mike Flanagan is maybe going to take over The Exorcist. I don't know how I feel about it, really. I don't know if he's the kind of guy I would want to do The Exorcist. But I don't know. I don't know. Feedback. How does everybody feel about Mike Flanagan doing an Exorcist movie?
He did Hell House, right? What's wrong with that?
What was that, Jeff?
He did Hell House, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did Hell House. He did that piece of crap Bly Manor.
Bly Manor's
I was
rad.
waiting for the technical discipline.
Now I'm standing my ground now.
Okay, I'm going to reach across the aisle, Chris.
Hold on. Was Bly Manor the one with
Midnight Mass.
Hiddleston?
Hiddleston. No. Who's Hiddleston?
No.
Loki?
Tom Hiddleston?
Was he in that? I don't think he was in that.
Hmm.
Bly Manor's the one that had the lesbian ghosts.
Yeah, and not near enough lesbian action to deserve up.
It was a love story, and it was beautiful.
It was a love story. It was a very
And I'll
touching
hear
love story.
nothing against love. Or a technical
I got
difficulty, yes, to
way
the
back
afterlife.
in the day, way back in the day when I was a nurse in Hanover, before Stella and I got married, had a couple CNAs work for me, two homosexual gentlemen, nice guys, and Brokeback Mountain came out, and they asked me if I was going to go see it, and I said, I'm not going to see no fucking Brokeback Mountain, and they said, what are you, homophobic? I said, no, I'm not going to watch a fucking love story, no matter, that's not the shit I watch. I stand by that. Even the two lesbians in Bly Manor, no, that's not my shit.
Yeah.
For one, you don't even know it's a lesbian love story. Like 30 minutes left in the last episode. There, you have to slog through a lot to get there.
You're the Jordan Peele guy. You got to go back and watch Bly Manor from the start. And it's laid out for you subtly. The number on the house. The number on the house is a subtle reference to a Prince album from 1981.
I'd like to point out that as Dave's stepson, I can pretty much attest that subtlety, not really his bag.
No.
Beat him over the head with a hammer with plot points.
But
I can be wooed by subtlety. I like nuance. I like nuance, but just not. Bly Manor did not have that. Like, there were a couple times where I was in on Bly Manor, but it if they took that, I don't know how many episodes was that, Chris. I know you've probably got each episode title tattooed on your arm.
My back. Gonna do a whole back.
You press that to about a third of the length and focus on those scary things when the faceless ghosts are coming after people and shit like that. I was all in on that shit. But to go back to Mike Flanagan, he also did Midnight Mass. It's very character driven. Mixed about whether that works for Exorcists. I mean, none of the Exorcists have been super character driven, right? None of the good ones.
It's pretty.
See, I would.
That's hard to.
This is one horror movie that I've watched. Chris used to punish me with it. Fun fact for everyone here. He'd be
Why
like,
you gotta say it like that?
If you don't shut the hell up, I'm going to make you watch The Exorcist. I believe were his exact words. So I think
does not sound like punishment.
That's just what happened. Keep in mind, I'm like 10 years old when this is happening. So yeah, but as someone who's watched The Exorcist, I would say that it is character driven. It's just one of those rare gems where like the characters are in the scenes together. Like it's not, you're not getting lore drops while people stand back and you watch, them kind of monologue or whatever. Each character is kind of a chess piece in The Exorcist. They all have their role to play. So while it is somewhat ensemble, the characters are so different and so kind of varied in their nuance that I think The Exorcist is a perfect example of a character-driven story.
There you have it.
Okay, there's.
You know what, Mike Flanagan? I'll do it. I'll take it.
We'll say
turn me
this.
around.
It can't be worse than DGG. Can we at least agree to that? Can we get 4-person harmony on that within the Horror House podcast tonight? Can't be worse than DGG.
David Gordon Green doesn't deserve to wash cars.
What is DGG?
David Gordon Green. He was the writer-director
What did he do?
of The Exorcist Believer that came out a couple years ago. And the last 3 Halloween movies.
And the Halloween movies that raped Michael... raped Michael Myers, replaced him with fucking Corey.
Yeah.
And then made us watch.
Michael Myers is more of a cameo than a character.
As a gentleman who is still afraid of Michael Myers' blank face, it's burned into like my soul to be scared of that. I can attest that Michael Myers in the last 3 Halloween movies, not scary.
The only thing scary about those movies was the runtime. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And then, Dave, news. What's your other news?
I'm going to throw in. I'm going to jump right in with some. It's a little David Cronenberg. Very very little. Just
hold on, Dave. Hold on 1 second. Let me. No, you go right ahead. You take your time. Tell me that Cronenberg news. The floor is yours.
So, for some that may not know, one, David Cronenberg is alive. That I guarantee is news to someone out there. Spoiler alert: David Cronenberg is still alive. He's got a new movie coming out called The Shrouds, and we have a little bit of a summation. So, Vincent Castle takes on the role of Karsh, innovative businessman and grieving widower who builds a device that allows you to come in and kind of go under this shroud, but it looks high-techy in the pictures that are out, and lets you watch as your deceased loved ones decompose in the ground.
Okay.
And somebody attacks and vandalizes the cemetery. So they don't know why, but then he's tied up with this a widowed lady, and then he's got maybe conflicted feelings about his dead wife, and I don't know. I'm worried here, Chris. I'm very worried.
So, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
The premise of this movie is that you can go into VR basically and watch your loved ones decompose. Like you can like sit there with them and just like watch their body.
I kind of got the feeling like maybe you came back every week to see them decomposing over time. It's not like the VR was showing them decompose in a rapid manner.
No, that's what I mean. Like you're watching it
Yeah.
in real time.
Yeah, but you can check in on your loved ones and maybe like if you had a really shitty ex, like I could see the value in watching them decompose over time. So that's why I keep mine in the garage.
Your VR headset.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking shit. It'll be great. My next movie's gonna be great. I'm David Cronenberg. It's gonna be awesome. You should watch it and get all kinds of tickets and go watch it and buy it on the internet on streaming, VOD. I'm Canadian.
That was great.
Did Bill Nye and David Cronenberg come from the same womb?
Jury's
I
out,
do.
I think.
That very severe bone structure would say yes.
It is. If you put the serial killer glasses on Bill Nye, I think he could direct some movies I'd be interested in.
You mean he already has?
I don't know.
Oh, right.
Wait, one last news. And this is Tim. A new Quiet Place movie is coming out, and the trailer is out now. And Dave has watched it.
Is it
What's the
directed by John
trailer
Krasinski?
I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. I just know there's a trailer out.
So this is the second trailer.
Oh,
Maybe even the third. I think there were just two different cuts of the first trailer, so this is officially trailer 2. But I did watch it, and
it
is set. It looks like it's in New York City.
New York City.
So I didn't hear you. Is it directed by John Krasinski?
Okay. One series
No.
creator
Michael
John Krasinski opted to do a
Sarnowski?
much more family affair.
Okay.
Whoever that is.
That's what the Googles are for, Tim. Everybody knows that
He's not done a lot.
Dan Leonski,
It's your news segment. I'm just here to ask questions and look pretty. Emphasis on ask questions.
Okay. So Sarnowski directed Pig that came out a couple years ago. That's really the only thing I'm familiar with. I haven't watched it, but I am familiar. And he was a writer for a story. It looks like, I believe this is the short story that became Keith Sutherland movie Mirrors, which we might do that on the show sometime.
Oh, that Amy Smart scene where she...
Yes, that movie will fuck you up.
That scene is... I mean, that scene is crazy.
So the new one is Quiet Place Day 1, Tim. So it's set in New York City, and
Stranger Things good.
It's going very like The Purge in its release dates.
Carrying on forever.
Yeah, it's epilogue to prologue or whatever. So that's kind of cool. I am a huge Quiet Place fan. That is, I would say, in my top 5 of like horror movies. It's so good. It was one of those movies I told people you have to see it in the theaters because like the white noise they pump in like during the entirety of the movie is so unsettling. It's top notch. So 2, Cillian Murphy sort of sold the show. So He was fantastic. I loved him.
Okay, Spider
So
Boy.
yeah. So yeah, the whole. I am a huge Quiet Place fan, so I'll definitely watch this, even though it's not directed by John Krasinski. But
The first one, because I believe I watched it in the theaters twice, and both times, like a whole theater of people. I've never heard a theater full of people be so quiet. Everybody is literally holding their breath because they're so engrossed in what we saw, and to say so much with so little dialogue, it is a masterclass of filmmaking. Whether you like
yeah,
horror or not, I'm in on the filmmaking of Quiet
that's
Place.
like John Krasinski doing like A Quiet Place and like Jordan Peele doing like Get Out. Like there is not a lot of what I feel to be standard horror elements. Like A Quiet Place, yes, because there's like the creature feature sort of like aspect of it, but like it's so minimal in a as opposed to like a normal creature feature. So, and then definitely like with Get Out, it's the weight of the movie is on your shoulders the entire time. From like Get Out takes a little while to get there, but when it gets there, it's weight there instantaneously. And then A Quiet Place, it's like that. I mean, the air is heavy around you. So movies that can do that, horror movies especially that can do that are phenomenal.
I agree.
There you have it. There you have it.
That's why I've been trying to get you to watch Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth for 20 years.
I'll watch it this weekend.
Its plot and its effects are so light that everything else has to be heavy.
Wait till you see these Cenobites.
There are people that live and die by that movie. Dozens.
What? That's more than the new Hellraiser. Hellraiser Deader.
No, Dave, the new Hellraiser's the Hulu one, the remake with the female Pinhead. It's rad.
Okay? So I haven't seen all the Hellraiser movies. What's the one with they go to hell and like they get interviewed by a guy that like has them express their sins? What is that one?
I don't think I've watched that one.
Yes,
That's a newer
it's
one.
It's on everywhere. It is. I know that one very well.
Judgment? Is that the last one that had?
Oh, I think it is from Judgment. Yeah,
the guy he had like glasses. Yep. I've not watched it. The plot seemed cool from what we read, but then it got shit on.
I watched like 5 minutes of it the other day. It just like kind of like I was doom scrolling some sort of social media, and like 5 minutes of it came up, and it unsettled me. And I was like, I need to make sure I tell Chris about this. And of course, I forgot about it until just now.
I've wanted to watch it for a while.
It
have not.
Unsettled me, and I was like, this is probably pretty decent. At least this 5 minutes was. I mean, it made me uncomfortable, which is kind of the point of a horror movie.
They replaced Doug Bradley as Pinhead the movie before that one, which I forget the name of that one. But that actor was absolute trash as Pinhead. I know
it was awful.
But then this one had a new Pinhead, and I think he was okay from what I've seen, but people still were like, it's not Doug Bradley. We don't want it. And so... But the plot that I read sounded cool. But any more news, Dave? Do you have more to share?
One tiny little thing I'm going to throw in is a new pull it up, a new movie. It sounds like it's coming straight to Mubi, which is a streaming service.
Movie?
I don't know. I think it's going to be in that French extremist vein. It is starring Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, I don't know who that, and Dennis Quaid. And it is being called a feminist take on the body horror genre. And right there. That's it. French horror, feminist body horror. I'm in. The French do some fucked up shit with their horror. I'm there for it.
Dennis Quaid, I'm in.
Wait, now, which Quaid is Dennis? Is he Enemy Mine or is he Cousin Eddie?
Yeah. No,
He's
Enemy Mine.
He's
Okay.
Enemy Mine.
Randy Quaid is cousin.
Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid's the one that's like running from the law in France.
Yes.
He is actively hiding from the United States government.
He has a bunker in France.
Hey, props to him. There's lots of bunkers in France. You could get one for cheap, dog.
He needs
It's lined with tinfoil. It's saran wrap. He thinks it's tinfoil, though.
The national vacation money has got to be running out by this time.
I have bought that movie so many times on DVD and Blu-ray and stuff, and then watch it on TBS every year. I'm doing my part to keep Randy Quaid alive. Are you? Hold on. Hold on. I wish I had In the Arms. Somebody sing Arms of an Angel while I do this.
Arms
In the
of
arms.
an
For dollars a
angel.
day. Tens of dollars a day. You can keep Randy Quaid alive, too.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
By sending money to randyquaid.com/us.
I just turned
That was
into
beautiful.
crying.
I almost
Thank
couldn't
you.
say my lines because I was so moved by...
My wife looked at me unscrupulously.
Tell her it was for Randy Quaid.
It was for Randy Quaid.
Or Dennis Quaid. Wait. No, Randy
No,
Quaid.
Randy.
Randy Quaid.
Randy,
Damn.
Randy.
Damn.
Dennis Quaid's the better actor. Randy
Yes.
Quaid's the funny one.
Almost had to redo it because I thought I did the wrong Quaid.
I mean, he did Parents, so I mean,
I've still never watched Parents. This seems like something I need to
Oh.
watch.
that's pretty good. For not a comedy movie, Randy Quaid was really good in that one.
Oh, is it not a comedy? I thought it was. I figured
No.
that's what it was. Oh, interesting. Well, something else that's not a comedy is Castlevania. And I think it's time that we talk about some Castlevania. So, without further ado, this is your one spoiler warning. Don't get any more. And if you missed this one, I'm sorry. But this is it. Go back. It's 4 episodes. I was bullshitting earlier. It's just 4 episodes. So, go watch it. Come back. This will be on
4
YouTube.
long, 30-minute episodes.
Yeah. It was like
23 minutes and 47 seconds to be exact.
Sorry.
it's like they designed it for me.
Commercial that would have been for 30 minutes.
Exactly.
But it's on Netflix, so there's no commercial.
But let's talk about it. I think first.
Jackie famously always says, because she'll have series she watches with us, and she watched the entire first season for me. She famously says, "You can only watch. I'm only good for 1 episode of a show at a time. Like 2 episodes is too much." And we pretty much powered through the whole thing because it was so short. It's literally the length of a movie.
Yeah.
First
Yeah.
season.
And I finished it and was pretty ready to go into season 2. And then I saw that there were 8 episodes for season 2. And I'm like, I don't know if I can commit to this right now. And so
Ready for
It's
that
good.
level.
I will get to it one day. I think first, though, we have to talk about the Castlevania games a little bit to kind of set the stage.
Can I take a quick bio break real fast?
Maybe.
Sweet.
Yes.
I'm going to
Actually, you can. I fully intended to click on these boxes and they'd be all kinds of fucking fucked up, but they weren't. But while Tim's gone, what Castlevania games have you guys played? Are you familiar with? Are you familiar with Castlevania? Is everybody?
I'm familiar with them. I've played them. I just don't know.
Oh, really?
1, 2, and 3, and that's it. But apparently, because I did watch a YouTube video, apparently there are like 15 games.
Oh, there's a
Which
bunch.
blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
I think I played 1, 2, and 3, and I think I played another one on like the N64. I think there was one.
Super
I played
Castlevania
briefly.
4. That one was a
Oh
rad
my
too.
God.
I have played so many of them, so many, and have beaten none.
They're
They're
brutal.
the later stages, especially in the early ones, is just too much for me. I didn't see the Grim Reaper till I was an old man.
So you were ready to see the Grim Reaper.
I had to cheat to see Dracula. I had to like, it's impossible. But
the first one came out in an era where video games were not beating a game back then was actually an accomplishment.
Yeah.
They did not come easy. So
I will say I've been listening. Aria of Sorrow, which is on the Game Boy Advance, by the way. You guys would like to see my plethora of game emulators, I have them back there. But the it is really good, and it kind of puts a Mega Man spin on Castlevania. So as you kill monsters, you can randomly have them drop abilities. So like killing skeletons, you get a skeleton ability. You can throw spears now. You kill imps, and you can summon an imp that will do damage, but it only has like 1 hit point. It's a really cool take on on the genre. I have beat Aria of Sorrow. It was really good. And then I went back and played Castlevania 1 because I was like, okay, I'm going to give the Metroidvania like thing a try. And it is way harder than a more modern game. I mean, it is difficult. So yes, I will preach to that older games, it was definitely an accomplishment to beat them. It didn't hold your hand all the way there.
On the N64, there was a Castlevania game. It may have just been Castlevania 64, maybe it was the name.
Yeah.
And I got to the end of that one after much trial and tribulation. That's one of those fucking pieces of shit games where I was playing it on the easy, because who cares? And I get to a point and it's like, you've beat the game on easy. Start completely over and do all the shit you just did. And then you can continue on the story. I'm like, I will kill people. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But I did, because you're a kid and have no money, and that's the game you have. But I got to Dracula in that one, legitly, and couldn't beat him. But I did see him with my eyes, and then I was like, fuck this game, and I'm never playing it again.
I beat the second one, and maybe the third one. I don't think I beat the third one. I think I saw the third one beat. Never the first one, never even close. The first one is notorious for your full life, you're cruising along, 1 hit, you fall off a goddamn ledge and die.
Yep.
Because they always did that fucking, it threw you back every time you got hit. You could get hit from behind and you would fall backwards.
That's a mechanic, Dave. That's a mechanic. It's designed that way. It's a feature. It's a feature.
It's designed to take your money at the arcade.
It is brutally fucking hard.
But
it is very difficult.
I love part 3, and I was surprised at how much of part 3 this show took from.
This show is based on part 3.
Part 3.
Which was very surprising to me.
I also learned for the first time this week in doing my research, part 3, those little fucking monkeys that would jump around and beat the shit out of you, they'd fucking jump all over the goddamn screen. Only this week did I learn that those are not monkeys, Chris. Those are hunchbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's only one Igor.
I mean, he looks. I always considered them Igors, but hunchbacks. Yeah, they're like little. In the Frankenstein fight, there's a little Igor that is essentially just one of them. That's a pain in the ass to kill. And yeah, in 3, and he's not in the show. Is Grant, one of the best names of video games, Grant Dynasty. And when you in 3, of course, you could switch characters. And he could stick to walls and move in midair. He was kind of crazy. He's not in the show. Not yet, anyway. Is he in the show later?
I think so.
There's a spin-off show, too, Castlevania Nocturne. So
yeah, that's based on, I think, Bloodlines, which is the Sega Genesis game, and it's set in France.
Okay.
So you just you give up at the start of the game, and that's it.
Bloodlines, I will say Bloodlines is really cool. I've played a lot of Castlevania games. I've not beat a lot, but I've played a lot because I loved Aria of Shadow so much. Aria of Shadow is like my first like real attempt at a Castlevania game, which I fucking loved. Bloodlines has a amazing charm in its graphics. Like, the Genesis does not get its due when it comes to graphics in that era. Like, it was really, really good. Like, when you compare it to like Super Nintendo games, it's insane. So highly recommend Bloodlines, especially if you're just nostalgic for like that era of games, because it is a very pretty game when it comes to that like 32-bit era.
And Symphony of the Night. That's a really good one.
Yeah, Symphony of the Night's amazing. And Alucard, who may or may not make an appearance in the first season of Castlevania, is the main character of that one.
We already gave the spoiler warnings. You can just say he's there.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
He's also in 3. He's one of the people you can play as in 3. Which was
that.
He makes the game a lot easier.
Map.
Yeah, so you can literally fly over pitfalls, but he uses up your hearts as you go, so you kind of gotta be. It does make it easier. He was
That's
badass
another
this time.
fucked up thing about Castlevania. As if I can bitch about that for a minute, in
Hearts?
every video game ever made, hearts are life, and in this, hearts are money.
They're like your
currency,
energy,
but
like
also
for your
their
weapons.
power.
Yeah,
Yeah, they power your.
I think it's a
in the
Japanese
first
thing.
one, they power your weapons, but in 2, they're currency.
Oh right, yeah.
It's fucked up. I really like 2, but 2 is fucked up for video games. You talk to people so they can give you clues. 2 has more liars than there are truth tellers.
Yeah.
So you never know when you talk to somebody if they're actually telling you something like, go to the graveyard and wait for midnight. And then nothing fucking happens unless you select the blue orb, which does nothing, and kneel for 15 seconds.
That game was made to sell Nintendo powers. Is what that
Yes.
game was made for.
Oh my god.
Okay.
But
So
there's this nostalgia to that game. So I love it even though it sucked.
I agree. So for years, Tim was trying to get me to watch Castlevania. Chris, you gotta watch Castlevania. The gore's so good. And I'm like, okay. I hear you. I hear you. I'll watch it. I'll get to it. And then I never did. And
Did
now
you
here
believe
we are.
him?
No.
You believed it, or did you?
I believed it was. I believed it was a good show. I didn't believe the gore was that good, because typically, from what I've seen, animated gore, comic book gore, kind of is very miss rather than hit. Every now and then there'll be something that I think is cool. I think the Guyver has some cool animated gore stuff. I think Attack on Titan was kind of good, you know. But Tim, you were right. This has the gore. This does gore animated very well, and I was on board. I was completely on board for it.
In the story, I love the story of season 1 so much. We did start watching season 2. Story takes off from there. So now they're after Dracula, spoiler. But the story of season 1 just fucking church is evil. I mean,
yeah,
you got me, man.
It's super
You
well
know what I
paced. Season 1 is super well paced. Season 2 is also amazing, and in my opinion, and Jeff, I think you've watched most of the series as well. Season 3 is like, it gets kind of bonkers because it gets into like the vampire hierarchy. It gets very Game of Thrones in season 3.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
You mean it gets very Revenge of the Clones? Let's put some politics in our vampire movie.
Right, exactly. It does. I mean, it really like kind of dives into that. I mean, I know we're talking about season 1, but I will say, like, with this show, each season has its own beat. It's very unique, and you could honestly go through and watch each season and pretend it's its own show because the beats are so different. So like season 1 is obviously a build up, right? It's kind of giving you this whole Trevor Belmont kind of not really a backstory. They
Strong
really get into that
chronicles.
more, right? Into the season 2, but they're kind of just setting up the characters to let you know how they are as people. And then you meet, Alucard at the end, which is phenomenal. But season 2, it's all a revenge story, and then season 3, it's all this political turmoil between the hierarchies, the vampires, and then season 4 is like doomsday, like how do we stop it? So like it's every single season has its own beat. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I will say, as soon as I opened, and Chris, you back me up on the first part here. As soon as it opened, it's skulls on stakes and fucking crows and the bats coming, and I was, what? This might be fucking legit.
Yeah.
Might be fucking legit. And then you get Sypha and Dracula and their interaction, and I was like, I feel like Tim is setting me up in a Bly Manor situation here. I'm secretly watching a fucking love story, but then it really quickly moved, and I was back in when they burn her at the stake. So, yeah,
it didn't take long.
Yeah, no, it moved quickly, and it really, at least from there out on season 1, like, we're sympathetic to Dracula here. I don't feel like it's going to stay that way, but right now I'm kind of like, hey, you fucking killed his chick, man. Yeah, he's going to fucking make you all burn in hell. And the church is fucking evil.
I'm on the church's side in this. I'm a Christian, and I think that, you know what? All those people have got to die anyway. Let the demons have them.
So what's really
we got to stand on our morals.
What's really interesting to me, like, one, this is set in 1476, which is considered to be the last year of the medieval ages, and then you get into the Renaissance, which I think is kind of a message. It's like, okay, this is the last of the dark times, then we're going to get into like the enlightened era. I thought that was kind of cool. But the other thing is, like, from the jump, they jump right into the fucking gore, right? Like, they're not pulling any punches. Episode 2, Trevor is coming up on Garrett or Garish, whatever that town is called. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It starts with the G.
I think
it was like Grecian.
Grisia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Greshit.
Yeah.
Greshit is what it's called.
Gorman?
There we go.
Gorman.
It only took
Gorman
4
town. Germany?
Yeah.
Gorman.
But he's coming up on Greshit, and he stops. He sees that little group of 4 goblins running away. And I didn't notice this the first time I watched it. And now that I'm a father, I don't know, maybe my senses are more in tune.
Okay, yeah.
The goblin turns, it has an infant baby in its mouth.
Yeah.
And dude, my chest got so fucking tight. I was like, holy shit, like, this show is going so hard in the paint to show you that, like, no one's fucking safe.
Yes.
This is, everyone's at fucking risk. Like, we are fucking, Dracula wants to murder every single soul in Wallachia. So this show does, I mean, it goes hard from the jump, dude. It is, that's why I told you guys, like, this is it's an anime, and I love anime. This is a horror anime. Like, they set the tone for, you should feel uncomfortable the entire fucking time.
I want to piggyback real quick, Timmy, on what you said about nobody is safe. It also very much, nobody is good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Trevor is as good as it gets, and
That's not a whole lot.
Speaker
at the
chick.
beginning.
Yeah, he's just drunk.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, but who's the speaker? What's her name? Is that Lisa Tepes?
That's
No,
Sypha.
that's Sypha. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Sypha. No, who's the wife
Dracula's wife.
that gets burned at the stake?
Yeah.
I guess she's
Mrs. Tepes.
I don't know if she's
okay.
named.
Oh, anyway.
She's named. I just can't remember what her name is.
Okay, well, so Sypha, the speaker.
Also in part 3, the video game.
She's the closest that there is to somebody good, because he comes to town. You know, this town is besieged
Yeah, Lisa.
by demons, and they're just very casual about it, and they're like, yeah, as soon as we run the fucking speakers out, man, it's all gonna go away. It's very much like scapegoat. And to me, and I don't really want to drive politics into our show here, but it's very much like, okay, we have a scapegoat, but there was probably a scapegoat before the speakers, right? And there will probably be a scapegoat after the speakers. Some people who preach hate, which is this church, and a lot of times the modern church,
I think you can just say the
and
church.
Yeah.
there's always going to be a scapegoat. You get rid of one scapegoat, they're just going to find another.
Yeah.
Because you always have to, if you preach hate, you always have to preach hate. There's no coming back from that. There's no, okay, we can quit hating now.
Dude,
And they make
Because
it
I've built my
That's a good bumper sticker. Preach hate. They could all put that on there, and that would. Or is that what
So they jump
think-
into that
I
like
think we got
really
$1 million
quickly,
idea.
right? They episode 2, he's like, that's a thief's knives. That's not a priest weapon.
all right? Yeah.
Like they jump into it like right away. Like the church is hiring killers. Like they are hiring muscle men to keep the common folk in line. Which is, that's what was happening during like the Spanish Inquisition and shit like that. Like it speaks a lot to history and modern times because
Nobody
history repeats
expects
itself.
the Spanish Inquisition.
Right, exactly.
It's this Monty Python stuff.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I won't technical difficulty for that, but just for future reference, I've never watched Monty Python, so I get none of those jokes. And
My name
Well,
is Tim.
At this point, I need a technical difficulties
Yeah.
but
Can't. They're all mine.
But they go really hard in the paint to like to show that the church is evil, right? And it's not evil, but they do a really good point in episode 3 or maybe 4. I think it's 3 to show that holy water is still good against demons. So they're making a good point to show like, hey, the church right now as it stands is evil, but there's still good people out there that can still kind of fight this evil, right? They make it like there's such, for an anime that's like based on action, like the Cyclops fight, tell me that wasn't the coolest fucking shit you've ever seen in your life. It's amazing, but it still has
seen
those
boobies,
subtleties.
but it was pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah.
But like it does such a good point of showing like, hey, the people who run this establishment known as the church are evil. That's why Trevor is like, I need a priest that was ordained in a proper church to come to me to bless this fucking water. Like, I need an actual priest.
And
Not
then he's
these
relieved
fucking
when it actually
vagabonds.
works.
Right, exactly. So like it shows the show is so good at like subtly referencing that like in all this evil, there's still a little bit of good, and that little bit of good can do a lot of good. Which I love. So but to get back to like the horror aspect, I could go on. My analytical breakdown of anything that I watch, much to my wife's dismay, is long-winded and stupid. The gore in this, though, like to get back to the horror aspects of it, are not something you see a lot in anime. As sort of an anime connoisseur, it's pretty brutal. There is a new anime that I'm watching currently based on a South Korean webtoon comic called Solo Leveling. Its gore is on par, if not better than Castlevania. So I would implore you guys to watch that. It's actually airing right now. It's only 12 episodes deep, so you can get through the whole
The other
series.
day I was home alone. I got on the computer and I did a little solo leveling.
I like that.
You set it up.
But
Technical difficulties knocked it out of the park.
I think
I will say you're not wrong about the gore, Tim. One of my not my favorite scene. I'll talk about my favorite part of season 1 in a minute, but after he beats the Cyclops and everybody comes back from being turned into stone, the one knight comes back, but he has no head, so then he just bleeds out of his neck hole. That
Yeah.
was, it wasn't super over the top gore. It was just a little, those little touches make gore more effective.
I laughed
I
at that part because I was like, that's that sleeping soldier bitch. Where's your sleeping soldier now? And then I was like, am I the asshole? Is it me?
The real sleeping soldier came out with his beautiful long blonde hair and his big boobies.
And almost a whale tail going on. What was that pants he was wearing?
He definitely had a leather thong going down.
Yeah. Before I go to sleep, I must put my thong on. Because I may have to kick ass when I awaken.
You never know.
And you can't kick
Sorry to
ass
kick
unless
ass.
you're wearing it.
I do want to like point out some of the, so like the horror is definitely evident, right? It has a lot of gore. It has a lot of like the really the horror I think of this series is the human interaction. It's not really even to do with the monsters in this season, right? It's more like the horror is that what fear does to humanity. So you touched on earlier, like, you know, these people are like just finding a scapegoat, attacking. And that sort of sheep and herder mentality of people are just going to be drawn to whatever they think is powerful to keep them safe. And Trevor Belmont does that spectacularly in episode 3, where he kind of like, he's like, this is what you fucking do. Pikemen up front, half kneeling, half standing, you know, rear men thrust, and like they fucking take out these demons like it's nothing. It's amazing. So it shows that like kind of people need to be led, but they need to be led by the right person, which that still rings true today. But the one thing I want to bring up, and I think I've not watched a lot of discussions on Castlevania season 1. Why? I know Dracula gave them a year to, and then it goes on to like explain like he did that to like help raise an army. Let's be honest here. Dracula could body that entire fucking city by himself easily. If you watch season 2, you know that's true because that dude's a fucking badass.
He's pretty much God Dracula.
Yeah, no, he's
from what I've seen.
He's insane. Why did he give them a year? I honestly think he gave that to them as his kind of last gift to his wife to let them repent for their sin and get the fuck out, because he's like, I'm not going to let anyone walk the earth where she walked anymore, right? Like, you feel bad for Dracula. They killed his wife. So I think that is on its flip side, in all this fucking evil, little nugget of good there too. So I'll let you guys discuss that. Why do you think he gave him a year? Was it really to raise an army, or was it because he knew his wife would want to give people a chance?
And I think that might, I think your analysis might be spot on. Like, this is the last vestige of humanity, although I'm not sure that iteration of Dracula was ever human. So when I say that, I mean humanity generic. This is his last gift to humanity, or a last nod to his wife and what she would have wanted. When it was very, I thought, powerful when she's on the burned at the stake and she's like, almost as what used to be a good Catholic boy, she's almost repeating the words of Jesus on the cross, right? Like, give them, they know not what they do. That is almost exactly how it's written in the King James Bible. So there is this plea to his goodness, I feel like, at that point.
Right.
And so the year to do that, and to, get out. You have a year to repent or to leave. Already at this point in the story, when Trevor comes in, they talk about the fact, and I guess we don't really know what the other city-states are doing at this time. I'm just going out on a limb to say that this is a city-state society, like early Greek society, where Athens was city-state. Troy was a city-state. Greshet was a city-state. They say they're the last one standing, and the bishop is proud of that. So you don't know what the other city-states are like during that year or at that time, but you have the opportunity to leave. You have the opportunity to repent. You don't have to stay and accept your fate. And yet, I really don't know if it's the church or the blind adherence to the church makes them stay. Clearly, they didn't all leave. Clearly, there is still at this point, a thriving society in Gresset.
Even though there were so many people that watched it happen, like when he showed up after she was burned alive, you know that the people that weren't there, and fuck it, probably some of the people that were there were like, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Fuck that. I'm not listening to your propaganda.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. So there's that.
But
But
Fake news.
Yeah.
Fake news. It was a gas leak. Dracula didn't show up.
He's the worst.
Gaslight.
He's the fakest vampire.
Well, I love that, like, the pride of the church comes in episode 3, right?
Yeah.
They come in, they're like, hey, a year ago we saw the fucking hallucination. It's because we had some bad chicken and we know it wasn't real because it was Satan messing with us. And then he's like, ah, fuck you, rain blood. Like, it is just, and then, or that's episode 2. And then, like, episode 3, it starts off and you just see a woman screaming over her baby's, like, bloodied cradle as it got ripped out by a demon. Like, dude, this show goes so hard in the fucking paint. It's so hard.
One other thing I want to talk about for the year cycle he gave them, a year reprieve to do what they need to do. Another thing that inevitably causes, at least for, like, represent anxiety clan, is just the dread of waiting. Right. And that's enough to just get rid of a few people just with that.
Yeah, so when Trevor gets to Greshet, you know, they're throwing bodies into the moat, and the moat's dried up, right? There's no water in there. They're just throwing bodies off a bridge into a fucking, like, dried up moat. So they're piling up. So, like, I feel like that shows that Dread had a very fight or flight response. Those people that had the flight response gotta dodge. They're gone. People with the fight response, like, really built up the defenses. Because you have to think, if Dracula had a year to get an army together, and this town isn't just fucking wiped off the map instantaneously after that year is up, they at least had to have some, like, tenacious motherfuckers in there that were doing some damage, right? That these goblins weren't just, like, devouring everyone in a single night.
Right.
So I think that that is, again, a subtle response to that fight or flight mechanic. The people that are hard, that are like, I'm going to defend my town, I'm going to be here, I'm going to do it, they stayed, and everyone who would have been wishy-washy left. So you're only left with your best troops, which is why humanity survived at all, is because they were just left with their best, which their best is also their worst, but that's from a moral standpoint as opposed to, like, a physicality standpoint. So, but again, this show is full of subtle nods to just human behavior in general.
Or maybe it could be interpreted that the people that left are the people dying because they refused to accept a new idea, to accept change. Or even still, maybe Dracula didn't wipe them off because he had obstructionists in the vampire government that didn't let him send attackums to against Gresset.
You should watch season 3.
There you
to learn about a certain blonde lady that's kind of a dickbag and kind of a person that obstructs shit just in general.
I think she appeared in season 2. So Jackie and I watched the first 2 episodes of season 2. I was asleep for most of the second of those episodes, so I need to go back and watch it.
They
I think she made
introduced
an appearance.
he was the nihilist in The Big Lebowski, but he is the voice actor for like the crazy Viking vampire, and it's fucking hilarious because he just comes in like a bull in a china shop and is like, I just want to fucking eat people. Like, it's hilarious, dude. It's so funny. But yeah, he was the nihilist from the Big Lebowski, the leader nihilist.
Okay. Let's if we don't mind, and can we take a moment talk about the cast? I want to start with the writer Warren Ellis. So he has a lot of writing credits under his belt, and a lot that would be familiar to us. He wrote the Extremis storyline for Marvel, which became Iron Man 3's most of that story.
Right.
He wrote the graphic novel Red that became 2 movies. He wrote the Dead Space video game, which
Oh, really?
I
didn't
have
know that.
heard rumors for years on years that, oh, we're going to do it. We're going to make a Dead Space movie. I think there are some like animated movies and shows.
Yeah, there are.
But
They kind of go back and tell you what happened before
Yeah.
story at the first game.
yeah, I'd like to see a live action. It
Be
really
awesome.
does look like that would be cool. So
That's
Warren
pretty
Ellis, super cool. The Richard Armitage.
Lance Reddick is in it, which he was in Destiny 2. He was in the John Wick movies. He was like the hotel proprietor that like took the gold coins from like John Wick.
Okay.
Just a beautiful man, great voice.
Soap McTavish is in it.
Soap?
Oh, Graham. Sorry, Graham McTavish. I don't know who that is.
So
Richard Armitage.
Graham McTavish. He played Dracula.
He played Dracula. He voiced Dracula.
He actually looks familiar. I'm probably saying something sacrilegious by calling him.
He
Soap
looks
McTavish.
kind of like Jeff Bridges, but slightly narrower head.
I did
Scottish
look him
Jeff
up
Bridges.
because I thought the same thing, Chris, that he looked familiar. He's in the Hobbit movies. He's in Rambo, the 2008 Rambo. He was in the Witcher TV series, 10 episodes of. 9 episodes of House of the Dragon. So he's been around.
And now he is the Dragon of Blood.
Now he is the Dragon of Blood. That is great. Oh man, that's so fucking metal. That should be a metal band name.
Didn't they call him that in the 38 movie, 35 when it came out? The Universal Dracula, the Dragon of Blood, something like that. That was like one of the things they called him.
Maybe the dragon. I mean, the dragon.
Hold
the
on.
name the dragon has long been associated with Dracula. You're looking that up. Richard Armitage, who voiced Trevor, won the name Armitage. Speaking of Get Out, that's the Armitage is the white family in Get Out. Richard himself played in Red Eye TV series, several of the Hobbit movies himself, and he is an unnamed Naboo fighter pilot coming back to Star Wars, and in the first Captain America movie he played Heinz Kruger, which, spoiler alert, is not spoiler alert, I guess that's not a spoiler alert. He's the nerdy guy that tries to interrupt the turning Captain America into Captain America dude. So I didn't even know he had a name. His name is Heinz Kruger.
If you listen to podcasts, Marvel's Wolverine, he plays Wolverine. It is so good.
Oh,
the anime one?
Okay.
It's a podcast, so it's not
okay.
Yeah,
I don't
you gotta look it up. Look it up. It should be free.
It's
now.
like an audio play, like the
Yeah,
yeah.
Like a
He-
radio play.
Yeah.
yeah. He plays Wolverine. It is so good. He's
the
very
guy
good
who
in
voices
Wolverine.
the guy who voices Alucard is his name's James Cialis.
James
But he
Callis.
plays sorry, James Cialis. He was in the 12 Monkeys TV series, just for a couple episodes, 5 episodes. But I know longtime listeners know how much I loved the 12 Monkeys TV series. It was great. It really is. It gets kind of wound up on itself, but it is a really great time travel TV show. That's hard to do. Matt Frewer is in this. So Matthew Frewer plays.
Matthew Hitler, isn't that what that word means?
Does that mean
Fewer,
Hitler?
not Brewer.
Oh.
Fewer.
My bad.
Matt Frewer,
Sorry, Matt, that's on me.
better known as Max Headroom, for the 80s kids. And
Hell
I
yeah.
thought, I know he's in Lawnmower Man. He is not in Lawnmower Man. He's in Lawnmower Man 2.
Yes.
And he's also in Dawn of the Dead. He's the dude at the
dad.
At the ammo shop.
No. He's the dad. He has the
dad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, that brings the fat lady in the wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matt
And-
Brewer's also in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Great in that. And
Yeah.
the
And he
TV series of The Stand. He was the junk man, rat man.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
in some really bad
also-
Sherlock Holmes movies. He was Sherlock
Oh,
Holmes.
really?
Yes.
He also had one
Tim.
episode of in 12 Monkeys.
What Matt Frewer thing do you know?
I know Lawnmower Man.
Oh, there we go.
Part 2.
There we go.
The
I
lawn
was,
mowing.
looking, I, was looking, I was looking at his movies here. Yeah, Lawnmower
Yeah.
Man's the one I know.
Yeah, he's good. I like Matt Brewer.
Well, me and Tim saw Dawn of the Dead 2004 together in the theater.
Oh, he was the dad.
Where have you been?
I was reading, so I wasn't listening. Because I'm a fucking idiot. But yeah, he was the dad. I now that I'm looking at him, I know that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He was, I think,
And then-
to me, the saddest death in that movie.
Yeah.
The whole movie.
by a
Yeah,
long shot.
Maybe.
We're gonna have to do that. Tim, you want to come back on and do Dawn of the Dead?
Zombie baby.
I will
Oh, four.
absolutely do fucking Dawn of the Dead just to tell the story, our Dawn of the Dead story.
It's
so good.
really only good to me and Tim, but it's fun to tell.
It's so good.
Book it. The last one I want to point out, and he may not even be in first season, but I woke up at the end of episode 2 of season 2 to Jackie saying, Theo James was in this? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't know who the fuck Theo James is. And just tonight, I looked him up. I thought, okay, Jackie knows this guy. I probably know this guy. I don't think I know this guy, but he's in the Divergent series. He's a pretty boy, so no wonder my teenage daughter knew who he was. So
He's actually very good in the Divergent series. I watched the Divergent series because I enjoyed the Hunger
Purpose?
Games, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna jump into like this other like.
Purpose?
Yeah, no, I enjoy them.
Were you in jail and that was like on the TV and you didn't have a remote control?
No, see, I enjoy like coming of age stories personally. So,
Imagine how
That's
much-
That's what I heard.
Tim, do you want me to? Would you like a technical difficulty screen?
no, I'm good. I appreciate you offering it to me, though. I've never seen you offer it to them, so that's
Well, you're our
feel
guest.
special.
You're our guest.
But no, I
You-
like
yeah,
coming of age
you-
stories.
you
He's really good in the Divergent series. He is also in the new The Gentleman series on Netflix. If you guys have ever seen The Gentleman, the Guy Ritchie film, they have a TV series.
Dave, what comeback do you have for that?
I don't
I
have
got
to
you.
come back.
I
Guy
got-
Ritchie does good shit. I'm in. Guy Ritchie
I
does a lot
thought
of
you'd have a
over the top action stuff.
I thought you'd have a thing for the Gentleman show or something.
I was
But you
going to until he called Guy Ritchie, and I'm like, no, okay, I'll let it go.
So The Gentleman
I
is
don't
an
care that it's
amazing
like
movie
all male
starring
porno.
Matthew McConaughey and several others. And
His name
then
is pronounced McConaughey. Thank you.
McConaughey.
it's
But
spelled Livin.
McConaughey.
Livin. But yeah, it's really good. But to get us back on track, the actors really spread out in season 2 and season 3. You get there's a lot of Harry Potter alumni voice actors in the movie or in the show, which is cool if you're into that sort of thing. And
No, Ron, no.
If you're a Harry Potter fan like I was as a child, like it's cool to see a more mature sort of subject matter come into those actors or whatever, and have them be on there. So that's cool.
And these are all next season and beyond people.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Season 1 is really setting up the main characters of the series.
Right.
Season 2 and 3 super expand on the cast, and really, season 2 is really a revenge story coupled with origin stories for various cast members. Right, so like.
Okay.
You're following those three, Sypha, Alucard, and Trevor, as they make their way to Dracula, while also kind of like learning about Dracula's hierarchy and his generals and his lieutenants and all that shit. So it's really good. But back to season 1, which is what we're discussing. I have a question, getting back into that whole realm, like the OG Castlevania season 1. You guys discuss horror all the time. I know after probably episode 1, episode 2 are pretty horror. Episode 3, about halfway through, it kind of dives into the action aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys feel about the horror in general? Like this was my pick, right? I told you guys, hey, I really want you to watch this. I think it's a great anime for horror. Do you think it set the horror tone, or is it more action oriented?
Now, the first season was very horror, very horror. Like you said, it's got the setup with the demons and the baby and its mouths and the pikes with the heads on there. Yeah, it was very, very horror. After that, it goes more action. It's got the horror elements.
I agree with what I've seen so far. So seems very horror. My favorite part, which I alluded to earlier, meant call out. Actually, at the end, when the demons are coming into the church and the bishop is kind of there all alone, and he tries to call to God, and they're like, he's not listening. So
Yeah.
that was
That
totally
monologue
fucking
is epic.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, we love you. Let me give you a kiss. Oh.
That was a really great. That stuck out to me because before all of this, we saw pretty decent gore. What was it? That was the 4th episode, yeah.
That was that was episode 4.
And like before that, we saw Dracula's wife melt from after being burnt, which was rad, and all the spikes on the heads, but this one they didn't show, which is great because I started immediately. I was filling in blanks of like how it was
impactful.
Devouring him, and I was impressed that they did that and didn't show any of it. I thought that was great.
No, it's really at least for season 1. Season 2 is also very, very good. Season 3, halfway through, I started to fall off. But season 1 and 2 are really good. I don't know if you can call it cinematography when it comes to animation, but I think it still is cinematography. But like their choice of like what to show and when to show it is so good. Like they fade to black when you don't need to see what happens, but you know what happens. And then like when they want to shock you, they shock you. Like they they pull no punches except when it's time to pull that punch and be like, all right, you know what we've done so far. What do you think happened here? And then they're like, they kind of have you fill in the blank because they've kind of given you so much information to that point. So
Right.
I love that sort of vague storytelling when it comes to those moments, because they set the tone to let your imagination know where to go, and that's a masterclass in storytelling.
Yeah, it goes very Hitchcockian for that, which is nice.
I really, really want Tim to watch the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I've seen it.
Okay.
He's not interested in doing that. Like, he's like, no, not again.
I'll do it. If you guys want me here again,
We can't
with
start
my
paying
drunk
you to
ass,
watch these movies.
That's okay. I'll watch them for free. But like, the original Texas. I've been drinking. Hello, everyone. Texas
Chainsaw Massacre is a
Texas
different genre, my friend.
Yeah, the Texas Massacre is something totally different.
That
Right.
is
The Texas Chainsaw
still top
Massacre.
5.
Google it if you're at
It
least
is-
18.
It is a masterclass in cinematography. Like and audio mixing. That's the thing that everyone like kind of harps on, like the cinematography. With the audio mixing is what makes that, like, the build up to the door fucking smashing open and shit is like what makes that so terrifying. So
When he opens the door and clubs the dude, and then you get this pig squeal, I'm with you. Like that little extra audio just puts it over the fucking top for me.
and everyone always loves on that movie. Like Quentin Tarantino is famous for like saying that is a perfect movie. He's famous for saying that the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a perfect movie, and it is in its own rights, right? So like everyone's like, the cinematography is so good, like the camera angles are so like unnerving. They move, right to left instead of left to right, which is what like Americans are used to and shit like that. It's awesome. The audio mixing in that movie is second to none. So yes, I will come on here and discuss that movie with you. I've seen it probably half a dozen times at this point. I love that movie.
I'm really kind of impressed right now, Tim. So
Thank you.
I've been searching Texas Chainsaw Massacre and on Google.
you 18.
I had to click a couple disclaimers, but I mean, I'm a couple 18s at this point, but it's honestly not a thing. It's not a thing. Can you believe that? I'm a little bit surprised that it doesn't exist. So we may be ending the horror house a little prematurely, and you may see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre before you know it. We're going to be producers. We're not going to be...
Gonna be
Get your minds out of the gutter.
Onlyfans.com/Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
If we ever get a Patreon, that's what we should just call everything from now on.
Like that.
If you get billed, you join our Patreon, and then you get your monthly bill, and your wife sees it, and she's like, "What is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?" And then it's our gift to you. We're keeping life exciting for you. Sing Arms of an Angel again for me. For $1 a month, you can join our Patreon, where we'll get you in trouble with your wife. Thank you.
Perfect 10. That could be a bowling website.
It doesn't show butts going in.
Huge problem for me.
Hopefully nobody is inserting their butt into anything. That's not how that works.
You ever seen a butt by itself? It's not for me.
I've never seen a real life butt, so I don't know really the jokes we're doing right now. I'm just kind of winging it.
I did see a skeletal meme this week that said, if you had a portal gun, you still couldn't love yourself because your movements are synced. And I thought about this way longer than it needed to be thought.
Fair. Well, let's get into rating this overall. Tim, I know you're not new here, but this is what we do.
Yeah.
now we will rate it 1 out of 10. And we'll start. Dave, you start
No,
us.
I'm sorry. I am a little bit confused on the rating system. Is this just purely based on like the horror factor, or
No.
just how much we liked it?
How much you
Yeah.
liked it.
Whatever
you feel like.
comes into your fucking brain.
And I will
Whatever
rate it.
criteria matters.
I will rate it lower than everybody because that's kind of my job, except Jeff took my job. Jeff stole my job last week. So it's first time it's ever happened. First time it's ever happened. We'll see where we end up this week. But let's go down the line. Dave, why don't you start us off and give us just your overall opinion and rate this bitch.
All right. Overall opinion. So, one, this is our first, believe, TV series. So we're rating the entire season 1. And it's 4 episodes. It's 30 minutes. So this is a consumable first season. I've been watching Game of Thrones now for 4 years, and I'm 5 episodes into season 2. So this is a consumable first season. The horror elements are really good. I really I questioned. I mean, I've seen it come up, and I know people have talked about it. I didn't know it was good because I've never heard Tim talk about it. And really, my source for anime information is Tim, Jackie, Matt. And no one told me like you should be watching Castlevania. So when this came up this week, I was like, yeah, I'm in. You son of a bitch. I'm in. It is really good. Just looking at season 1, I am going with a solid 7.5. It was entertaining. It should be watched. I want to see more. Show me some more, and I'll get you up to an 8, maybe 8.5. I'll set you at an 8.5. You show me some more in season 2. So.
Okay. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it was a really good series. I mean, it really pulls you in. You really get invested into it. Like the voice acting, like Richard Armitage, it's so good. You know, like I said, the whole Marvel Wolverine, like he's very good actor and like very good at voice acting. And yeah, so I mean, it really pulls you in. It all the seasons are really good. In the first season, 4 episodes, it wasn't enough. Like it needed to be. I felt like more because it leaves you wanting completely more. So like second season hits and you're just all into it, and like the third season, yeah, it goes into more of the politics. So it kind of pulls you back. And then the fourth season, it kind of ends everything. I'd give it a 9. I really enjoyed the series. Yeah, first season, 4 episodes. It really leaves you wanting way more than what they gave you.
Yeah, it leaves you. At least me, I agree with Jeff here. It leaves you chomping at the bit for some more action.
It's so good you tell your friends about it. You're like, you have to watch this. And that's a pretty, I mean, not a lot of things anymore really do that. And for Tim to have told me, at least, when did this come out? 2017, 18?
Yeah, 17.
At least 5 years. He's been, you need to watch, have you watched Castlevania? I know for a solid year, he was like, have you watched Castlevania? Every weekend. I'm like, no hable, wrong number. But okay. Somebody's cut to me.
Cut to Chris.
And cut.
Thank you. I also enjoyed it. It was super short, which made me really happy because, God, super long things, even long movies. I almost immediately I'm like, this is too long. I don't want to. Before episodes, it's like I could knock 4 episodes out. They're half hour. I could kill this show. But because of that, even my lame ass wanted more by the end of it. I'm like, there's so much that I would have liked to have seen that I've not seen yet. Maybe they'll show it later. But it really is like Dracula. This happens, wife dead, kill some things, demons, then kill some, then the evil Catholics. Sorry, Dave. And then the Sypha, and then it's over.
Yeah.
It almost felt like if you could, you know how like a TV show has a pilot, like one episode to kind of prove their point. It almost felt like this was a season as a pilot.
Yeah.
And I just wanted more. My one big complaint, and I'm the nitpicker, man. That's my job here. Is Trevor wasn't blonde. If you have the NES package, you'll know that on the cover of the NES game, Trevor Belmont was a blonde. And NES covers do lie. This is true, but it kind of took me out for an episode or two. I'm like, is this brunette guy, is he the real Trevor? Is he not? Maybe we'll find out later.
He stole his ID.
Could be. But it was a very good show, and I am right with Dave at 7.5. Me and Dave rated something the same, which is not happening.
That happens a couple times a year. Yeah,
this is our first one. I think this is our first one this season.
Believe so.
But the way Tim is looking, I'm concerned that he's going to kick the two of us out and just keep Jeff. But we'll see. Tim, why don't you tell us your overall opinions, thoughts, critiques, nitpicks, and rate this bitch.
So season 1 is too short, right? They should have really led into season, like at least probably the first 2 or 3 episodes of season 2, like where they sort of like get used to Alucard and kind of like complete that, because that was too much of a cliffhanger, right? Like,
yeah,
let's go kill my dad. Cool. Like, you just met this dude and you're like, yeah, I'm totally cool with fucking like teaming up with a vampire. They should have like made it like 2 or 3 more episodes longer. That's my major nitpick with this entire season.
Fair.
I will tell you, Chris, that he does get the chain whip in season 2. So if you want to see some dope ass chain whip shit, season 2 is where that starts.
Good to know.
This story, like season 1 especially, has so many beats that, like I talked earlier about how the beats, the each season has its own different beat, right? Like season 1 is a build up, season 2 is a revenge story, season 3 is a political story, and season 4 is a doomsday story. But this season has, it kind of like lays on the autonomy of the characters very thickly, right? It wants you to know who these characters are, and that's awesome. Like, we need to know that if you're going to watch a show, you kind of need to know, like, familiarize yourself with the characters kind of up front before you can watch more, because then, like, they're not doing things that seem out of character and make you like uncomfortable. That's totally cool. But it also kind of lays it all out front, like, this is it's going to be a brutal show. Get used to that right off the bat. 2, like, this is going to be subversive in the fact that, like, it's going to kind of turn your own moral compass on its head, right? Because, like, you feel for Dracula. Dracula wants to kill every fucking person, babies included, first season, and you're like, I kind of understand why he wants to do that. As a human being, I can't be like, I can never understand why anyone would want to kill a baby. But this show is like, no, I get it. It makes sense that he'd want to kill a baby. Like, it's so fucked. It really turns your own moral compass against you. So with my one nitpick aside, I have to go with Jet. It's a 9 out of 10. Like, it is.
Wow.
It is. The storytelling is so good. And if you look deeper into it, you see that, like, hey, episode 2, I saw a demon carrying a baby in its mouth. And you're like, huh, makes sense. Like, the fact that it's like that you think to yourself, oh, fuck, yeah, makes sense. Like, that shows you how good storytelling this is. Like, it's phenomenal. So,
now, interesting point. So Tim, you and Jeff have both finished the show.
I have not finished season 4. I know
Oh.
what season 4 is about. I've not
Okay.
finished it.
Well,
but
you're
yeah,
into it. Me and Dave have only
yeah.
watched season 1, and we've all got the same pairing of scores. So maybe mine and Dave's score will go up the more we
Yeah.
maybe that we get
I'm
into
really
it.
I'm really trying to rate season 1, but
Hard
as
to-
an anime, it's damn near perfect. As a show in general, it's damn near perfect, but it is very short, so it doesn't have like a high bar to cross, right? So,
right.
you know, like if you have any anime fans in the audience, like Black Clover season 1, not a huge fan. One Piece season 1, I fucking hate it.
One Piece seems too goopy for me. Like I'm not.
Is that the Straw Hat Kid?
Yes, it is. And it gets real deep real fast. Naruto season 1, a fucking abomination, with the exception of the Zabuza arc. It's terrible. So, for an anime to have this strong of a season 1 is so fucking rare. It's like Escraed, fucking Cowboy Bebop, like the Ancients, like the fucking like the OG animes that everyone's like, you have to watch this. This is on par with those season 1s. So it's a very high rating. I'm a big anime fan, so like this is a high rating for me. Like it's very,
There you
very
have
good.
It gives us an aggregate score of 8.25, which is a really good score. I don't have our spreadsheet made yet, but last week we were at an aggregate of 6. Night Swim, we were an aggregate of 4.3. So this, I believe, might be our highest aggregate score of season 1 of this season.
Yeah.
And I really don't even feel like I need to look. I'm certain that this is our highest
Yeah.
aggregate score so far.
I think this is the first one this season that I am above 6, above 5, maybe.
I'm very excited that I was able to turn you guys on to some anime that is horror themed that scored higher than all your other horror themed shit that you've done this year.
I'm gonna have to change the name to Anime House now. It just makes sense. It just makes sense.
I'm super excited about that. I would say if you guys ever want to do this again, the first 2 episodes of Solo Leveling are creepy as shit.
Well, we
and
may have to do that.
So
I try to do that by myself.
I understand.
God damn it.
Actually, you know what? I'll just post something for you guys really quick. And I'm just curious, and you can put it on stream if you want, but you don't have to. I want to know how unsettling this photo appears to you.
I can't click on it or I will ruin the pictures. Is it safe for stream?
Oh yeah.
Okay. It's not where I thought it was. Where is it?
I just posted it in
there it
private
is.
junk.
Yeah, the junk folder.
In private junk. Okay.
That's unsettling.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me.
That is pretty sexy right there.
The wide grin. Yeah.
Let me hold on 1 second, stream, and we will look at this together. Hold on.
Oh, guys, let's get a quick clap for our first time chatter offering to promote the channel for very low cost and very high quality. Thank you very much, bot.
Oh, you doing Jesus's work out here. Dracula. Get the Christian.
What is that blue image from? Is that from Solo Leveling? I've never solo leveled to that image. I promise.
Right. No, that is from the episode 1 of Solo Leveling. It is it doesn't have the horror aspect to it. It has the human aspect to it, so there is a lot of suspense to it, which is phenomenal. The horror aspect is really only prevalent in
Chris is
episode
dragging
1.
boxes everywhere.
There you go.
But I will say that like it is. I watched episode 1. I was folding laundry in my living room. Folding laundry, and this fucking shit came on, and for the next 2 hours, I didn't fold a goddamn thing. I just watched the show. Because I was like, I'm in, bitch. Let's do this. Like it
Fair enough.
is really good.
And
So
then Jen came home and kicked his fucking ass, and
She
he was
did.
grounded from the TV for 2 days.
no, I got sucked in hard though. It is very good. It is in the same sort of vein as Castlevania. It has the same sort of like speed of the action as Castlevania. So if you're a Castlevania fan, highly recommend it. But it doesn't have the horror aspects. It's more of a it's really more of a heist setup than a horror film, which are kind of in the same vein, right? You have a slow build up to a climax, so it's really good. But if you guys liked Castlevania, I think that you will enjoy this. So I recommend it. But
There you go.
that is my recommendation. Ending the anime horror house podcast.
Have you seen Chainsaw Man?
I have. It's goofy like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I enjoy it.
A
It's
lot of
like
blood.
a lot of blood. It's like if Bleach was like, hey, fuck any realism. Let's just go ham. Like that's kind of the vibes it gives me.
It's on Crunchyroll, so Solo Leveling is available on Crunchyroll.
It is, yeah.
Use promo code whorehouse4 because Tim's here, and it may work. It could work is all I'm saying. Try it and see.
Good.
And if it doesn't, let them know. Let them know. I wanted
If it
to
doesn't,
say,
it's your own. You weren't quick enough.
yeah, I wanted to say
It's a
'cause
limited number.
I've got my science pin again. I've learned since last week that I'm a prop guy. Props really speak to me. So I, as the science guy of Horror House now, I know Jeff didn't. He's not looking at me, but that felt really directed at me.
Look at my son.
You're just looking and you're like, no, you're not. You can't spell science. Fair.
At this point, Chris
That's
is
fair.
basically the carrot top of the Horror House podcast.
Yeah, I'm like Carrot Top plus Beekman plus Chris, but vampires aren't real. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you knew that already. Vampires aren't real. Also, last thing, that prop's done. Time for prop number 2. I didn't have a Castlevania shirt, and usually I like to wear a horror shirt. Sometimes it's a wrestling shirt. I've got a Mario Kart shirt though.
Dope shirt.
That I think my wife paid $8 at Walmart for. So
It's dope.
I roll there.
I didn't have Castlevania. This is the best video game I could do. But just know that as long
Tim
as I already
is
have
going
it
on Amazon right now to find a Castlevania shirt for Chris.
is that
I've got I got Halloween Horror Nights from 2 years ago when they had Werewolf meets the Mummy meets Dracula. So
I thought you had a Warhammer shirt on for a second.
I have a shirt that says this is not my Halloween costume, so
We're going right down the line. Tim, what does your
Black
shirt
t-shirt,
say?
dog.
what's the fit?
Classic.
You didn't know we had a fashion show.
I
Graphic
could be a
tees.
greaser
Classic
from the
black.
50s or a serial killer from the 90s. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's a black t-shirt.
If we time traveled,
Classic
3 of us
black.
would be real kind of. Well, 2 of us. Jeff could maybe get away. If you protected Jeff, you 2 could get out, and me and Dave.
Yeah.
Jeff just has to turn his t-shirt inside out and he's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
if I turned my T-shirt inside out, they would kill me faster because they thought it was some cryptic tongue. It didn't just say Mario Kart. Well, anyways, I think that about does it for us this week in the horror
I will
house.
say, Whorehouse podcast fans, real quick, efficiency of violence. If you saw those episodes, I was the guy that was the efficient on the efficiency of the violence, I would love to do that again. If you guys like that, comment on this episode and say, hey, we want that guy to tell us how efficient we can be at killing bad things. And I'll be like, yeah, I'll do that.
I almost wore
Fine.
my Blob t-shirt tonight just for you and the efficiency of violence.
And we decided that quick-crete and a can-do attitude kills the fucking Blob in like 2.5 seconds.
I laid in bed the other night just thinking of my Blob remake, epic scale 70. What did I get? 7,500 episode series that I'm going to do on Freevee, or Tubi, I forget. Anyways, but that our conversations during the efficiency of violence episode, go listen to that on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and that I will put a thank you on the end credits. It's going to take like 17 years to get to the end credits,
right?
Because it's such a long show. It's a mega series. A mega mini. Each episode's only 12 seconds long.
But a mega mini.
It's gonna be great.
There's also 2 minutes of ads on each episode.
Yeah.
On Tubi.
Sorry, you didn't use promo code HorrorHouse4 at checkout. But if you want more of Tim,
you also forgot fuck Spotify. So, but
oh,
also go listen to the shows on Spotify.
If you're in chat and you do ! Spotify, you can reach us there.
But yeah, I'll be here if you guys want more of those too. Like I'm game for that. So
we can do charts and shit now, dude. We got so much. Look at all this room we've got.
I know. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
We have so much room for activities. But
I tried to exclamation point OnlyFans and it didn't do anything.
Right. But I will search for the next good anime horror film to or at least horror series to like introduce you to. Hellsing, super good. So I'll throw some stuff at you guys and you know, let me know what you want to do it. But I know Jen is not chomping at the bit to do Insidious. Jen's my wife, for anyone out there that's watching. Big horror movie fan, except for the Babadook. But yeah, she'd love
why
to.
We should totally make her do the Babadook.
Oh, dude,
she doesn't like gay icon the Babadook. This is egregious.
She would spend
homophobic
30 to 45 minutes shitting on how much.
Is Jen not an ally?
I'm right there with her.
Jen not an ally?
Jen, okay, she's sitting right next to me. She says she doesn't need 35 to 45 minutes. She needs one sentence. And what's that sentence? It fucking sucks. All right, so now we know.
Amen, sister.
That episode's already over, so you might well cut that and put it on your next episode, and we're done for that one.
Can we have 10-second episodes on Spotify? Because I would maybe do that.
Yeah, next week off.
All right. Next week's a rerun, everybody. I'm just kidding. Whose pick is next week? I think Jeff. Jeff, your pick is next week.
All right.
Is it Vincent Price?
Mine.
Is it not?
Oh, no. I'm thinking I'm going George C. Scott. There's at least 2 George C. Scott movies.
There's 2 that I know of. Now, we've talked about one on the show towards the beginning. But if it's the other one...
Is it The Changeling?
No, that's not even the one I was thinking of.
Okay.
Wait, no. Hold on. Maybe. But no, we've not done The Changeling.
And Firestarter is the 2 I'm thinking of.
You know, I'm thinking of, I don't even think is George C. Scott. By the way, so we're doing The Changeling next week.
We already did Exorcist 3.
Yeah.
If you want to do it again, we can do it.
Isn't there one like Ghost Story or something that has him in like a haunted house almost by himself for a lot of it? Like his daughter. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
I was thinking, I've got it. Okay. I'm excited to watch this. It may not seem that way. I may seem very weird, but I trust.
Yeah, if you go to, I know it's probably on YouTube, but I saw it a thing on the Just Watch. It has 2 trailers, and one of them's Ty West that talks about how good The Changeling is. So,
Dave,
I think it's on Shudder.
Dave loves Ty West.
Yeah. So
I love me.
he
some
talks
Ty
about
West.
how good the Changeling is and how that that's how that changed him and like how he goes for his horror movies and stuff. So I mean that sways you towards that movie.
Everybody, next week, George C. Scott, we're watching The Changeling on TNT Monster Vision. We will catch you guys there. All night, I have opened Windows. I really was Googling Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then I'm like, oh, I'm streaming this. If something pops up, maybe not a great idea. But so many times tonight, I get hit with such a bright screen that it became a bit throughout the show. I don't know if anybody's caught it at any point, but there's several times where I will just open the screen and go, and then close it, and we'll just keep talking. So if you caught any of those tonight, type Texas Chainsaw Massacre into the YouTube comments.
It's a drinking game now.
Yeah. Drink every time you see Chris go like that to a bright light. Tim, thank you for joining us. Any last words? Tim.
Yeah, big time fan. I like what you guys do.
You're cut off, Jeff.
I'm a big.
You're cut off, Dave.
I'm a big fan as far as just kind of anthology series as this is, right? So, NoobTube was a big, inspiration to me as far as like a content creator. So I like the kind of content you guys are doing, and I hope to see more. And I will be here every Thursday night that I can be to be in chat and hang out with everyone and talk. So I look forward to it. But yeah, you guys are awesome, and I really appreciate the time that you guys gave me.
All of those socials, like, comment, follow, all that. It costs you nothing, and it helps us build the brand so that the Horror House codes may someday work for something. So, like, you get a free baguette when you go to Walmart if you shop online with Horror House 4.
You could get 4% off in 10 years if you just fucking subscribe right now.
4%.
Don't put off the inevitable.
This is Chris's theory. Actually, Chris, I used your theory at work the other day with a young person at work. I often, because I am the elder statesman at work sometimes, give a lot of life advice. I give a lot of life advice, and I told someone the other day, you got to make decisions today that future you will look back and be like, past me? Thank you for making that decision. Thank you for setting me up for success.
Help your
And
future
that
self.
that is a theory that came straight from Chris's a brain.
Do something now that helps future you, and you'll thank yourself. We're out.
And right now, that could be liking and subscribing. So
help future Horror House.